Today we dive into the ancient mysteries of the ziggurats that science still struggles to fully understand. Initially designed and constructed by the Sumerians, a civilization you barely hear about in today's history, these towers were said to reach the heavens, acting as a bridge between the divine and the earthly. But just how massive were they? Were they initially designed to reach far beyond the clouds? And what could have gone wrong? Why is only one ziggurat preserved in decent condition? And why only the upper chambers were a select few able to enter each year? To begin unraveling these questions, we must first look at the story of the Tower of Babel, which some believe refers to the Etemenanki in Babylon. The story of Babel is one of humanity's oldest cautionary tales, humankind uniting to build a tower that could reach the heavens, only to have it struck down by God, scattering people and languages across the earth. Compared to archaeology, the resemblance to Babylon's massive ziggurat, the Etemenanki, is striking. This tower, dedicated to the god Marduk, was described in ancient texts as reaching into the sky. Some accounts claim it stood nearly 600 feet tall, making it one of the tallest structures of the ancient world, and apparently was planned to be even taller. But here's the problem. We don't know if the ziggurat truly inspired the Babel story, or if it was what remained after the tower was struck down, like a plan B. Was it genuinely intended to reach heaven, or was it simply so immense that it became a symbol of human pride? The evidence is tantalizing and leaves so many questions unanswered. If Babel was indeed so tall it was brought down, could it have been the common fate of many ziggurats of that time to be struck down after reaching a certain height? Let's look deeper into some of the most enigmatic ziggurats known to history and explore possible reasons as to why they are no longer standing. Imagine a skyscraper of mudbrick towering over the flat Mesopotamian plain. That's what some ziggurats were, colossal towers rivaling any structure of their time. Ancient accounts describe the Etemenanki as so tall it took a full day to climb. But today, no visible ruins remain, no massive foundation stones, nothing. How? Just traces in old tablets and faded memories written by historians like Herodotus. Alexander the Great reportedly ordered the ziggurat to be rebuilt, yet when he saw its crumbling state, it was so ruined that his men couldn't even clear the debris before his death. If it once was a wonder of the world, it has now been erased almost completely from history. And it wasn't the only one. Other ziggurats, like the White Ziggurat of Uruk or the towering structures of Nineveh, are gone as well. Did they collapse naturally over centuries? Were they dismantled and repurposed, brick by brick? Or is it possible that they were purposely destroyed to keep hidden agendas from coming to light? If we can't even recover their scale, then how can we possibly know what happened on top of them? Unlike Egyptian pyramids, which were said to be tombs, ziggurats were temples. But they weren't open to everyone. Common people weren't allowed to climb them. The steep staircases and ramps led only to the summit shrine, and only priests and rulers had the right to ascend from there. But here's the mystery. No detailed records survive of the rituals performed at those heights. Some theories suggest sacrifices and offerings were made to the gods. Others think they were used as secluded places for priests to interpret omens, study the stars, or even commune directly with the divine. The secrecy was deliberate. By restricting access, rulers created an aura of exclusivity, a literal stairway to heaven that reinforced their claim of divine authority. But because no written descriptions survive, we're left guessing. Were they altars of blood, platforms for astrology, or something far more symbolic? And that secrecy connects directly to another puzzle. Were these towers aligned with the very heavens above? Egypt's pyramids are famously aligned with the Orion constellation. But ziggurats? That's far less certain. Archaeologists have noticed that some are oriented to the cardinal directions, while others seem to match solstice sunrises or sunsets. But the evidence is incomplete. Without intact structures, it's nearly impossible to know if those alignments were deliberate. Did Mesopotamian priests climb ziggurats to chart the movement of stars, planets, and the moon? Some scholars believe they acted as giant observatories, helping to create one of the first astronomical calendars. Others argue the alignments are coincidence, nothing more than practical building choices. The frustrating truth, with so much of the evidence destroyed, we may never know whether ziggurats truly mirrored the heavens, or whether we're projecting cosmic meaning onto piles of broken brick. Yet even without the stars, the very construction of these towers leaves experts baffled. Here's the key difference. Egyptians had endless quarries of limestone and granite. Mesopotamians did not. Instead, they had clay, mud, and reeds. Somehow, with those humble materials, they built towers that rose hundreds of feet into the air. The math doesn't make sense. Millions of mudbricks would have been needed, each fired in massive kilns hauled across the plains, stacked by human labor. How did they transport the bricks without abundant wood for carts? What kind of scaffolding or ramps did they use to raise them hundreds of feet? And how did they keep the structures from collapsing under their own weight? We have no surviving blueprints, no instruction manuals, no written accounts of the engineering process. Just the ruins and a nagging sense that we're missing something about their construction techniques. And if the building process is a mystery, imagine how little we know about their appearance once finished. All that's left today are eroded mudbrick cores, stripped bare by thousands of years of rain and war. But ancient texts hint that these towers were anything but plain. Some were painted in dazzling colors, brilliant blues, whites, and golds, while others were faced with glazed tiles that shimmered under the Mesopotamian sun. The top shrines may have been covered in precious metals, reflecting light for miles across the desert. Imagine a glowing beacon, a man-made mountain gleaming on the horizon, visible from every corner of the city. Did they rival the splendor of Egypt's stone pyramids, or surpass them in sheer visual impact? Without more evidence, we'll never know. The glory of the ziggurats has vanished, leaving us with only broken outlines of what might once have been the most breathtaking structures on Earth. And perhaps the greatest mystery of all is why these magnificent monuments didn't survive. Unlike pyramids, ziggurats didn't endure. They collapsed, melted, and blended back into the soil. Why? Was it because mudbrick was simply too fragile to stand the test of time? Or was there something deeper at play? Some scholars argue that Mesopotamians saw these towers as temporary bridges between heaven and earth, not eternal monuments, but ritual stairways meant to rise and fall with the gods' favor. If that's true, then their destruction wasn't an accident of time, but an intentional part of their design. Today, all we see are ruins. Yet those ruins tell a haunting story. The greatest monuments of the world's first civilizations rose higher than anything else of their time, and then vanished almost completely. Their secrets, their rituals, their glory, and their meaning remain just out of reach. As we uncover more of these secrets with new discoveries being found each passing day, subscribe to keep up with us on this journey together. We will see you in the next video as we continue to decipher the stories being told through the past.